A huge MMO has been announced that it is going to be coming out at the end of 2025. I'm going to tell you what the game is. I'm going to tell you what you can sort of expect from the game, why you might want to be excited, and maybe why you don't want to be excited. So let's jump in. The game in question is Aion 2. Aion 2? I think I'm just going to call it Aion 2. If I'm wrong, I just don't care. And yeah, basically what happened recently is there was the NC Soft financials, and they spoke about a couple of different things. For example, they actually cancelled the version, I think it was called Project E, which was basically a different continent in the Throne of Liberty universe. They also announced, by the way, that they'd made a little bit of a loss, I think. But one thing that they did say is that Aion 2 is coming out at the end of 2025. Or at least that's the current plan. And actually, quite importantly, it is going to be a global release, or maybe not simultaneous, but they're targeting a global release in the second half of 2025. Now, there's not actually much footage of this game. They have like a website, and there's like a trailer from maybe like 5-6 years ago, but there's not much else been revealed. And they do say, with this in mind, that there's going to be a marketing campaign that will start early next year at some point in 2025. And the plan is to have localized in several different languages. I think they may have mentioned 12. And there's a couple of things that make me very interested. One, they say that the game is going to be PvE focused. Now, I am actually a PvXer. When I play MMOs, a lot of the time I will actually be doing PvP. But what I don't personally like, and it's fine if you like it by the way, is I don't really like open world, always on PvP kind of games. That's just typically not my vibe. However, this game is going to be focusing on PvE, but there will be PvP. This likely means that there'll not be like always on PvP or massive battles like Throne of Liberty or sieges like that. And what's interesting is that they kind of mention a combat system. They say it's going to be different from other NC Soft games, which does get me a little bit excited because I really dislike the combat in Throne of Liberty. I know some of you enjoy that, and that's fine. Maybe this means it will be more action based, and actually in the trailer that they do show, it sort of looks a little bit like action based. I've no idea if Aion, the original game, was action or tab. I was just watching a Josh Drive Hayes video on it, and it very much looked like it was tab to me, but you know, he kept referring to it as action combat, so maybe the melee was action. I don't know. I've not seen enough of it, right? I never played it. But action combat or something different than just normal tab target would be very interesting, especially in the world, because the world looks beautiful. Now, I do have a couple of problems with this title. As I kind of mentioned, it's NC Soft and it's Korean. So what do you think of? Well, you might be thinking of pay to win. And they kind of confirm that the game will be pay to win, because they allude to the fact that the business model will be similar to Throne and Liberty, and that's pay to win. Now, I always said I don't like pay to win, but if the game is very good, then I will probably still play it. The main deal breaker for me with Throne of Liberty was simply the combat. So if this game's different in terms of combat, but with the same business model, then maybe it can win me over, and maybe it's a game I will play. Now, what exactly would it mean, the same business model as Throne of Liberty? I'm guessing it would mean that there's no actual trading between the players, and it's all just going to be a cash shop. However, they could mean just free to play with battle passes. Sort of, let's be honest, it's probably going to be the same trading post, right? It just makes sense. I do think that actually having pay to win in a more PvE focused game is less egregious than having pay to win in a PvP focused game, but that's just me. The problems don't stop there though either. Now, whilst the game is beautiful and it's actually been developed on Unreal Engine 5, there's going to be a caveat here that's going to turn off a lot of people, possibly myself included, but I need to play it first. And that is, this game is not just a PC game, it's also going to be releasing on mobile. There's hundreds of different variations that this could be, but primarily, will it feel like a mobile game ported to PC, or will it be more of a PC game ported to mobile, or some kind of combination of the two? I don't mind if people can play on a mobile as long as the PC experience is actually enjoyable and good. The problem is that they may have to sacrifice something so that it plays well on mobile, be it gameplay, be it graphics, be it what have you. I actually didn't really mind Tarisland. There were a couple of things I didn't like. For example, the mouse movement and the UI scaling and all this kind of stuff didn't really feel like a great PC MMO. But it kind of showed to me that it is possible, even if Tarislan didn't necessarily succeed, to have a relatively decent PC game and a relatively decent mobile game. I do have to sort of go back to one of the previous points though and talk about the combat. If the game is going to be available on mobile, which it seems like it is, then surely the combat can't be super duper action combat. Surely it's going to be a little bit more simplistic, and hopefully it won't have something like autoplay. Big question mark over that. We've no idea what it's going to be. Like, I'm excited about the game, but there's a lot of issues here that could simply just turn off a lot of people, myself included. They do say that the marketing is going to start early next year, so maybe we'll actually get to see it, and maybe eventually we'll get to play it in maybe like a beta test or something like that. The next thing I sort of have a bit of a problem with is the name, Aion 2. It sort of seems like they should maybe consider what Arcade Chronicles did with Arcade 2. So if you don't know, Arcade Chronicles was originally billed and titled as Arcade 2, but they kind of realized that if you name a product like Arcade 2, you're going to expect it to be like Arcade 1. So they ditched that name because Arcade Chronicles seems like it's going to be a vastly different game than the original. It sort of seems like maybe Aion 2 will be the same way. Having not played Aion, can't really make any claim about that, but I think Aion was mostly a PvP game, and again here they're focusing on PvE, so does the name make any kind of sense? Maybe they should call it Aion Chronicles. Okay, don't actually do that name, but you see what I mean? Maybe they should ditch the number 2 and make it something more standalone. A lot of people like myself will be like, well, I never played the first one, well, why am I going to play the second one? But actually, it could be an interesting game, and it could do well. It actually plays well on PC, the pay to win's not like completely egregious, the combat's decent, and it does release globally. Like, it could actually genuinely be very interesting. I know, don't bother with the comments of this, guys. I know you're going to do this. I know it. Please don't. I know what you're going to say. Korean, mobile, pay to win, jank, right? That's very, very, very possible. And I wouldn't be too optimistic either, right? I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I really believe in this project. Like, just don't. Instead of commenting that, tell me how your day is. Tell me what games you're actually looking forward to. Tell me something, please. Don't just repeat the same thing. I know you're going to do it anyway, especially now that I've said this. What you definitely should do though, is like and subscribe. Maybe consider becoming a Patreon if you really want to help me. And if you want to talk to me about anything, anything, New World, Chrono Odyssey, whatever, then Twitch is the place for that. Definitely have a beautiful day. Goodbye.